The agony of the unread message. Stop. Put the phone down. I know exactly what you're doing. You are staring at a screen that hasn't lit up. You are rereading the last message you sent, analyzing the timestamp, counting the minutes, and wondering if your joke was too forward or if your question was too boring. You are rewriting a follow-up text in your head, deleting it, rewriting it again, and agonizing over whether an emoji makes you look weak or playful. Most men waste hours, literally years of their lives trapped in this mental prison. They overthink every interaction. They replay conversations in the shower. They wonder what they should say next to keep her attention. But I need you to listen to me very carefully. The moment you start trying to figure out how to keep her attention, you have already lost it. The truth is simple, but it is a truth that society has hidden from you. You have been told that attraction is a negotiation. You've been told that if you are nice enough, available enough, and persistent enough, she will eventually see your value. But deep down, you know that isn't true. You have seen the nice guy get ignored, while the man who seems to care less gets all the attention. Why? It's not because she likes jerks. It's not because she's superficial. It is because of how the human brain is wired. Just 3 words when said the right way can make a woman think about you again and again without you doing anything extra. And no, I am not talking about the obvious heavy lines like I love you. I'm not talking about pickup lines. I'm not talking about pretending to be someone you aren't. I am talking about words that slide quietly under her skin, words that bypass her logical, skeptical brain and activate the part of her mind that keeps replaying you like a favorite song she didn't even realize she put on repeat. Here is the real secret most people miss, women and human beings in general. Do not obsess over looks. They do not obsess over perfection. They obsess over how you make them feel. Beauty fades, perfection gets boring, but a feeling that she cannot explain, that stays. If your words make her feel something no one else does, you don't just become interesting, you become unforgettable. That is why these 3 simple words matter so much. I will share them with you. But if I gave them to you right now, you would use them wrong. You would use them like a desperate magic trick, and they would fail. To use them, you must first understand the machine you are operating. You must understand the unconscious mind. Stay with me. By the end of this video, you won't just have a line to say, you will have a new way of seeing the world. 3-15, Part 1, The Logic Trap. Let's clear something up right now. This is not a cheap trick, it's not a movie line, and it's definitely not a silly gimmick meant to control or manipulate her. This is real. It is grounded in deep evolutionary psychology. Most men believe attraction comes from doing more. More texting, more explaining, more availability, more effort to prove they care. They think attraction works like a checklist. He's handsome. Check. He has a good job. Check. He answers my texts instantly. Check. Okay, I love him. If it were that simple, dating apps would have solved loneliness a decade ago. But we are lonelier than ever. Why? Because the connections that move us, the ones that keep us awake at night, are not logical. They are emotional. They are symbolic. They live in the part of the mind you can't see, but you can feel. The Swiss psychologist Carl Jung spent his entire life studying this hidden world. He called it the unconscious. He said something that explains almost every failure you've ever had in dating. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will guide your life and you will call it fate. Think about that. You will call it fate. When she says, I just don't feel a spark, she is telling you that her unconscious mind hasn't been activated. When she says, you're a great guy, but she means your logical resume is perfect, but your emotional resonance is dead. You are trying to negotiate desire using logic. You are bringing a calculator to an art fight. When you send a text that says, hey, how was your day? You are being polite. You are being safe, but you are also being invisible. You are speaking to her conscious mind, the part of her brain that sorts mail, pays taxes, and makes grocery lists. That part of the brain is bored. It craves stimulation. When you are too available, too predictable, and too logical, you become part of the background noise. You become furniture, and nobody falls in love with furniture. Part 2, the pattern interrupt. To understand why the 3 words work, You have to understand how the human brain processes information. Our brains are prediction machines. Evolution designed us to predict what happens next so we can survive. If we see a lion, we run. If we see the sun go down, we seek shelter. In the modern world, this prediction machine is used for social interactions. When a woman meets a man, her brain immediately tries to categorize him. Is he safe? Is he desperate? Is he high status? Is he boring? Most men fall into the predictable category within the first 5 minutes. You ask the same questions. Where are you from? What do you do? You agree with everything she says. You double text. When she doesn't reply, her brain predicts your behavior. It says, okay, I know this guy. He likes me more than I like him. He is safe. I don't need to pay attention to him to keep him around. I can check my phone later. And just like that, the attraction dies. Not because you're a bad person, but because there is no tension. There is no mystery. To trigger obsession, and I use that word carefully, you must break the pattern. You must become a glitch in her prediction machine. Novelty is the language of the unconscious. Anything that breaks a normal pattern, anything that interrupts the automatic rhythm of daily life gets marked by the brain as important. Imagine you are driving home. You drive the same route every day. You don't remember the drive. You are on autopilot. But if you see a fire truck with lights flashing on the side of the road, you snap out of it. You look, you remember it later. You want to be the fire truck. You do not want to be the pavement. The 3 words I am going to teach you act as a pattern interrupt. They stop her autopilot. They force her to stop scrolling, stop thinking about work, and focus 100% of her mental energy on you. Part 3, the psychology of symbols. Before the reveal, we must discuss emotional anchoring. The mind doesn't store words. It stores feelings attached to images. You might not remember the exact sentence your best friend said to you 10 years ago, but you remember how hard you laughed. You remember the feeling of the moment. Most texts men send carry 0 emotional weight. What are you up to? 0 weight. Hope you have a good Thursday. Negative weight. It feels like a corporate email. You need words that are symbols. Carl Jung spoke about the feminine inner personality in the male unconscious and the animus, the masculine, in the female. True attraction happens when you speak to her animus, when you represent something she feels she is missing. Usually this means you represent 1 certainty in a world of confusion, 2 challenge in a world of easy validation, 3 depth in a world of superficiality. The 3 words because they combine these 3 things. They are certain, they are a challenge, and they imply depth. The setup. Why silence is your ally? Silence. Here is the final piece of the puzzle before you use the words. Most men are afraid of silence. If there is a pause in the conversation, you rush to fill it, you send a meme, you ask another question. This signals anxiety. It signals that you are uncomfortable with yourself. A high-value man is comfortable in the silence. He knows that silence is where the tension builds. Think of a horror movie or a romance movie. The most intense moments are not when people are talking. It's the silence before the kiss. It's the silence before the jump scare. You need to be willing to let the conversation hang. You need to be willing to let her wonder where you went. Because in that space, in that silence, her imagination starts to work, and her imagination is infinitely more powerful than any text you could send. When she is imagining you, she is investing in you. When she is wondering what you are doing, she is building a fantasy version of you in her mind. Your goal is not to be the man who texts her all day. Your goal is to be the man she thinks about all day because you didn't text her. 1720, Part 4, The Reveal. I promised you 3 words. Words that slide under the skin. Words that create a loop in her brain. Here's the scenario. You are in a conversation. Maybe it's texting. Maybe it's in person. It's going well, but it's hitting that lull. Or perhaps she just told you something about herself. Something slightly quirky, something real. Or maybe she's just being her usual self. Most men would say, haha, that's cool. Or nice. Instead, you are going to pause. You are going to look at her or wait a moment before texting, and you are going to say, I am intrigued. Or if you want the slightly more casual version, you intrigue me. That's it. I am intrigued. Now, you might be thinking, that's it. That's the secret. Yes. And if you think it's too simple, you are missing the psychological depth of this phrase. Let me break down why this nukes her logical brain and goes straight to the unconscious. 1, it is high status. The judge frame. When you say, I like you, you are handing her your power. You are asking for her approval. When you say, I am intrigued, you are telling her that you are evaluating her. You are the selector. You are not sold yet, but you are looking closer. it flips the script. Suddenly, she isn't the prize you are chasing. She is a puzzle you are solving. This makes her unconsciously want to prove you right. She wants to live up to the intrigue. 2, it is ambiguous, the open loop. I like you is a closed statement. It's done. There is no mystery. I am intrigued is an open loop. Why are you intrigued? What did she do? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it her dark side, her light side? Her brain cannot close this loop. She will ask why. What do you mean? And now you have a conversation that is about her character and your perception, not about the weather. 3, it validates her uniqueness. Every woman wants to be seen, not looked at, but seen. To be intrigued implies that she is complex. It implies she is different from other women. It tells her, I see layers in you that other men miss. It is a compliment, but it is a compliment that she has to earn the rest of. 4, it is safe yet dangerous. It's not aggressive. It's not sexual harassment. It's socially calibrated, but it carries a sexual undertone. Intrigue implies a desire to know more, to get closer, to peel back the layers. It creates intimacy without being creepy. Part 5, how to execute it. Context matters. You cannot just say this out of nowhere. If she says, I just ate a sandwich, and you say, I am intrigued, you look like a weirdo. Context is king. The setup, wait for her to share an opinion, a habit, or a story. She says, I actually really hate going to clubs. I prefer sitting on my roof and watching the city. The boring guy says, yeah, clubs are loud. I like roofs too. Conversation dead. The magnetic man says, pause. You know, I am intrigued by you. She will respond, what? Why? Your follow-up. Do not give her a straight answer immediately. Keep the tension. You say, most people just follow the crowd. You seem to have a whole other world going on inside your head. It's rare. Boom. You have just done 3 things. 1, you validated her. She feels special. 2, you challenged her. You are analyzing her. 3, you created an emotional anchor. She feels seen. Variation for texting. If the conversation is dying or she is giving you short answers, stop chasing. Wait a few hours, then send this. You know, you're not what I expected. This is a variation of the intrigue technique. She will reply, what do you mean? You reply, I'm not sure yet, but I am intrigued. This creates a vacuum in her mind. She needs to know what you think of her. It activates the dopamine-seeking system. The danger of overuse. A warning, this is seasoning, not the main course. You cannot be mysterious and intrigued 24/7. If you do that, you become a game player. You become inauthentic. Authenticity is the soil that attraction grows in. Use this when you genuinely feel it. Use it when you want to shift the dynamic from friendly to romantic. But more importantly, you must actually be a man who is capable of being intrigued. This requires you to have standards. If you are intrigued by every woman you see just because she is pretty, you have no standards. You should be intrigued by her mind, her darkness, her quirks, her spirit. When you say, I am intrigued, it should be because she actually showed you something real. Conclusion, becoming the prize. Let's zoom out. The specific words, I am intrigued, are powerful, yes, but the energy behind them is what changes your life. The energy is this. I am a man who has options. I am a man who creates his own reality. I am not looking for a woman to complete me. I am looking for a woman who can match me. When you operate from that frame, you don't need to memorize scripts. You don't need to stress over emojis. You naturally become less available because you are busy building your life. You naturally become more mysterious because you aren't spilling your guts to a stranger for validation. You naturally become more attractive because you are not seeking approval. Most men are beggars. They beg for attention. They beg for love. They beg for a reply. The king does not beg. The king invites. When you say, I am intrigued, you are extending an invitation to her to step into your world. You are opening the door just a crack to see if she is brave enough to walk through. This shift in mindset is what Carl Jung meant by making the unconscious conscious. Once do you realize that you are the prize, that your attention is valuable, and that her obsession comes from her investment, not your effort, everything changes. You stop chasing. You stop stressing. You stop trying to be perfect. You realize you don't need flawless lines or constant communication. You only need to know how to speak in a way her unconscious mind remembers. So the next time you are staring at that phone wondering what to say, don't be the nice guy. Don't be the boring guy. Be the mystery. Be the challenge.